This was what she had been preparing for all these months, bridging the gap between two vastly different approaches to technology. As she entered the ship, ready to tackle another impossible problem, she knew she had made the right choice in accepting the Guardian's offer. The massive hangar bay of the Guardian space station hummed with activity as Hannah's ship settled into its docking position. Unlike the purely crystalline vessels around it, her ship was unique, a blend of sleek Guardian technology and practical human engineering. The hull shimmered with quantum energy fields, but beneath the surface, modified Earth components worked in perfect harmony with alien systems. Hannah stood at the command center, watching as the docking sequence completed itself. After a year as a Guardian, she still marveled at how far she had come from her mountain workshop in Korea. But she hadn't left her roots behind. She brought them with her, changing the Guardian fleet in ways nobody had expected. Final systems check complete, her ship's AI announced. All hybrid systems performing at 143% of standard Guardian specifications. The AI's voice carried a hint of pride. Another change Hannah had brought to Guardian technology. She had taught their AIs that emotions weren't flaws to be corrected, but tools that could improve problem-solving. "Any word from our new apprentice?" Hannah asked, adjusting a control panel that combined holographic displays with physical switches. She had designed it herself, proving that sometimes touching a control worked better than thinking it. "She has just arrived at the station," the AI replied. "Like you, she comes highly recommended for her innovative repair work on Earth." Hannah smiled, remembering her own journey. In just 1 year, she had fixed dozens of impossible problems across the galaxy. Her methods had shocked, then impressed, and finally revolutionized Guardian engineering. Now, they were ready to accept another human mechanic into their ranks. Through the ship's viewport, Hannah could see other Guardian vessels coming and going. Many of them now carried modifications based on her designs, hybrid systems that merged the best of both worlds. What had started as emergency repairs in her workshop had grown into a movement that was reshaping Guardian technology. "Remember when you first crashed in my yard?" Hannah asked her AI, running her hand along a control panel made from modified car parts. "You thought Earth technology was primitive. An error in judgment that you corrected most effectively." The AI responded, "Your approach to engineering has forced us to reconsider many assumptions about technological advancement." Hannah checked the time on a display that looked suspiciously like an old kitchen clock. "Well, let's go meet our apprentice. Time to pass on what we've learned." As they walked through the ship's corridors, Hannah reflected on the changes of the past year. Her vessel was a testament to what could happen when different worlds worked together. Guardian crystalline technology flowed seamlessly into Earth-inspired mechanical systems. Quantum fields were regulated by modified car computers. Ancient human engineering principles helped stabilize advanced alien technology. The ship's main airlock opened, revealing a young woman standing nervously in the station's docking bay. She carried a toolbox that looked like it had seen plenty of use, and her eyes widened at the sight of Hannah's hybrid ship. "Welcome aboard," Hannah said warmly. "I'm Hannah, and this is going to be your new classroom." She gestured to the ship around them. "What do you think?" The apprentice looked around in wonder. "It's amazing. I've heard stories about how you combine Earth technology with Guardian systems, but seeing it..." She trailed off, noticing a familiar-looking component. Is that part of an old tractor engine? Modified to help control quantum field distribution," Hannah confirmed with a grin. "Sometimes the old ways work better than the new ones. That's the first lesson you'll learn here." They walked through the ship, Hannah pointing out various hybrid systems she had designed. The apprentice asked intelligent questions, already showing the same innovative thinking that had brought Hannah to the Guardian's attention. Sometimes, Hannah told her ship's AI, as they showed their new crew member around, "The best way forward is to remember where you came from." She patted a wall that hummed with the perfect harmony of two technologies working together. Every machine, every piece of technology, tells us something about the people who made it. When we combine those stories, we create something new and wonderful. The apprentice was already examining a quantum relay, her eyes bright with possibilities. Hannah recognized that look. It was the same one she had worn when she first started combining Earth and Guardian technology. Hannah held up her tool proudly. Built it myself. Had to combine parts from 3 different engine analyzers and a medical ultrasound machine. Works better than anything you can buy. The AI processed this information, comparing it to its vast database of technological development patterns across thousands of worlds. This human's ability to combine disparate technologies to create something new was exactly the kind of innovative thinking that had drawn the Guardians to countless worlds before. As emergency lights pulsed along the ship's hull, the AI made a decision that would change both human and Guardian history forever. "We appear to be in need of immediate assistance," it announced. "Our quantum systems are experiencing cascading failures that our standard protocols cannot address." Hannah was already walking around the ship, her calibration tool buzzing in her hands. "Well," she said with a small smile, "why don't you tell me what's wrong? And we'll see what we can do about it." The night that had started so quietly was about to become the beginning of an adventure that would reshape the understanding between 2 vastly different civilizations, all because a mechanic from South Korea decided to treat an alien ship like just another broken machine that needed fixing. The Guardian eye watched with growing curiosity as Hannah circled the ship's exposed quantum core. The core pulsed with an unstable blue light, casting strange shadows across the workshop walls. What surprised the AI most wasn't just that this human could approach the dangerous energy source without fear. It was how her eyes tracked the power fluctuations with clear understanding. "Your quantum stabilizer is completely misaligned," Hannah said, kneeling down to get a better look. She held her calibration tool closer, frowning at the readings. "The power flow is all wrong. It's like watching an engine trying to run with its timing belt skipping teeth." The AI's response carried a note of what might have been amusement. "This technology is centuries beyond Earth's current capabilities. The quantum matrix alone requires tools that won't be invented on your planet for at least 500 years. Hannah smiled, running her fingers along the crystalline housing of the core. The touch reminded her of something from years ago, a project that everyone had said was impossible. "You know," she said, "I once rebuilt a fusion reactor using parts from a rice cooker." The AI's lights flickered in what seemed like disbelief. "That would be impossible." "Impossible is just another word for hasn't been done yet," Hannah replied, already moving toward her toolbox. "The reactor was experimental, military project. They'd brought it to me after 3 other mechanics gave up. Said it couldn't be fixed without original parts that would take months to arrive." She began pulling tools from various drawers, some standard, others clearly modified in ways their manufacturers never intended. "The thing about advanced technology," she continued, "is that sometimes it gets too complicated for its own good. Sometimes you need to step back and look at the basic principles." The eye observed as Hannah laid out her tools in a precise pattern. "The quantum matrix operates on principles that control and direct energy flow," Hannah interrupted. "Just like any other engine. Your quantum stabilizer isn't that different from a timing belt system. It's just managing energy instead of mechanical force." She held up her modified calibration tool, showing the AI the readings. "See these patterns? They're similar to what I see in high-performance engine timing systems." The AI processed this comparison, its lights pulsing as it ran the calculations. "The principles are vastly different." "Are they?" Hannah was already connecting her diagnostic tool to various points around the core. "Energy is energy. Whether it's mechanical, electrical, or quantum, it all needs to flow in the right patterns at the right time." She pointed to a particular fluctuation in the core's light. "That right there. That's like a timing skip in an engine. The energy isn't flowing smoothly through your quantum matrix." As she spoke, Hannah moved around the core with increasing confidence. Her hands seemed to know exactly where to touch, where to connect her tools. The AI noticed how she occasionally paused, head tilted, as if listening to the core's erratic humming. "I will need some items from my workshop," she said finally, "and I'll have to modify some of your broken components. The principles might be the same, but I'll need to adapt my tools to work with your technology." The AI's voice carried a distinct note of skepticism. "You intend to repair quantum technology with primitive Earth tools?" Hannah laughed, the sound echoing through the workshop. "You'd be surprised what primitive tools can do in the right hands." She was already heading to her storage room. "I once fixed a satellite guidance system with parts from an old microwave. Sometimes the old ways work better, especially when you're dealing with something new." She returned carrying an assortment of parts that looked completely unrelated to the sophisticated technology before them. There were modified car parts, pieces of old computers, and what appeared to be components from various household appliances. "The quantum matrix is basically a super advanced timing system," Hannah explained as she began laying out her parts. "It coordinates energy flow through different parts of your ship, just like a timing belt coordinates engine components. The problem isn't that it's broken. It's that it's lost its rhythm." The AI watched as Hannah began to work, her movements precise and confident. She combined alien technology with Earth components in ways that should have been impossible, yet somehow made sense when viewed through her unique perspective. "The trick," she said, carefully modifying a crystalline component with what looked like a repurposed soldering iron, "is to stop thinking about what something is supposed to be and start thinking about what it actually does." As she worked, the erratic pulsing of the quantum core began to stabilize. The blue light steadied, its rhythm becoming more regular. The AI sensors detected something extraordinary. The quantum field was actually beginning to align itself with Hannah's modifications. "Impossible," the AI stated, but there was wonder in its voice rather than doubt. Hannah just smiled, continuing her work with steady hands. "That's what they all say, right until it works." She held up a modified component that somehow combined parts from an old computer's timing circuit with pieces of the ship's quantum technology. "Sometimes you need to bridge the gap between the old and the new. Technology is technology, no matter where it comes from. It's all about understanding the basic principles and not being afraid to try new solutions." The quantum core's light had changed from an erratic pulse to a steady, healthy glow. Hannah's unorthodox repairs were actually working, proving that sometimes the most advanced problems could be solved with the simplest solutions if you just knew how to look at them the right way. The midnight hours ticked by as Hannah worked steadily on the quantum relay, her hands moving with practiced precision between alien technology and Earth-made tools. The workshop's usual smell of oil and metal now mixed with an odd crystalline scent from the Guardian ship. The eye watched her every move, its sensors recording methods that broke every rule in its vast repair database. "What you're doing should not work," the AI said, observing as Hannah connected a modified car voltage regulator to a piece of quantum circuitry. "Yet our systems show a 40% improvement in stability." Hannah didn't look up from her work, carefully adjusting the connection with a tool she'd made from an old dental pick and parts from a broken smartphone. "In Korea, we have a saying," she replied, her voice soft but clear in the quiet workshop. "The simplest solution is often hidden behind complexity." She paused to check a reading on her calibration tool. "Sometimes we get so caught up in how advanced something is, we forget to look at what it actually needs." The AI's lights shifted in a pattern that suggested deep thought. "Tell me about other repairs you've done," it requested, its curiosity growing with each successful modification Hannah made. Hannah smiled, remembering some of her more interesting jobs. "There was this ancient temple mechanism in Busan," she began, carefully soldering a connection. "It was over 500 years old, controlled the movement of massive doors. Everyone wanted to replace it with modern motors, but the monks insisted on preserving the original system." She reached for another tool, one that looked like it had been built from parts of 3 different devices. The problem wasn't that the old system was bad, it was that people had forgotten how it worked. "Took me 3 days just sitting there, watching the broken pieces before I understood. The solution wasn't in any manual or computer system. It was in understanding how people 5 centuries ago thought about mechanical movement. The AI processed this information while monitoring Hannah's current work on its systems. "You appear to have a unique approach to problem solving," it observed. "Had to learn it the hard way," Hannah replied, now connecting what looked like modified fiber optic cables to the quantum relay. "About 10 years ago, the military brought me this experimental communication system. Top secret, very advanced. Nobody could figure out why it kept failing." She paused her work to check another reading, nodding with satisfaction at the results. Turned out the problem wasn't in the advanced parts at all. There was a simple copper connection that kept corroding because of the local air moisture, all that fancy technology, and it was being stopped by basic chemistry. The AI's lights pulsed with interest. "You found a simple flaw that others overlooked because they were focused on the complex systems." "Exactly," Hannah said, moving to another section of the relay. "People often expect complicated problems to have complicated solutions. Sometimes the best fix is the simplest one." She pointed to her current work. "Like now, your quantum relay isn't failing because it's too advanced for Earth technology. It's failing because it lost its rhythm, its balance. Sometimes you need simple tools to restore that balance." As if to prove her point, she connected the last modified component, and the relay's light shifted from an erratic purple to a steady blue glow. The AI sensors registered a complete stabilization of the quantum field in that section. "How did you know that would work?" the AI asked, genuinely curious. Hannah wiped her hands on a shop rag, studying her handiwork. "I didn't. Not for sure. But I've learned to trust my instincts. When you fixed enough broken things, you start to see patterns. Everything that moves, everything that carries energy. It all follows certain basic rules, even your quantum technology." She moved to another section of the ship, her steps short despite the late hour. "Last year, I fixed an experimental military engine that nobody could figure out. The engineers kept trying bigger, more powerful solutions. But the problem was like a pebble in a shoe. Small, simple, and right where nobody thought to look." The AI watched as Hannah began work on another section, its respect growing with each successful repair. Her methods were unorthodox, even chaotic by Guardian standards, yet they worked with undeniable efficiency. She combined centuries-old mechanical principles with bleeding-edge technology in ways that shouldn't have been possible, yet somehow made perfect sense once completed. "Your species," the AI said after a long pause, "appears to have capabilities we may have underestimated." Hannah laughed softly, her hand steady as she made another connection. "That's the thing about technology," she said. "No matter how advanced it gets, it still needs someone who can understand its heart." She tapped the quantum relay gently. "Sometimes that understanding comes from the most unexpected places." The night continued, filled with the quiet sounds of repair work and the sharing of stories. With each passing hour, the Guardian AI found itself learning not just about human ingenuity, but about a whole new way of approaching problems. Through Hannah's stories and her steady work, it began to understand that true innovation often meant looking beyond established protocols to find solutions in the simplest places. The first rays of sunlight crept over the mountain peaks, painting the sky in soft pinks and oranges. Inside the workshop, Hannah's hands moved with practiced precision over the quantum core, making the final connections in her unique repair system. She had worked through the entire night, stopping only for quick sips of coffee and brief moments to double-check her calculations. "Final connection coming up," Hannah announced, carefully joining a modified Earth-made superconductor to the alien quantum matrix. The connection point glowed with a soft blue light that gradually spread through the entire system. The humming of the core changed pitch, settling into a steady, harmonious tone that filled the workshop. The Guardian A sensors lit up as they analyzed the repaired systems. "These readings, they cannot be correct," it said, a note of astonishment in its artificial voice. "The quantum efficiency is running at 127% of original specifications." Hannah stepped back from her work, wiping sweat and grease from her forehead with the back of her hand. The repaired core pulsed with a steady rhythm, its crystalline surface now seamlessly integrating both alien technology and Earth-made components. What had started as a desperate emergency repair had evolved into something entirely new. The original design was beautiful, Hannah explained, checking readings on her modified diagnostic tool, but it was too rigid. By combining your quantum technology with some flexible Earth components, we've given the system room to breathe, to find its natural balance. The AI processed this information, comparing the new configuration to its vast database of known technologies. You've created hybrid systems that our engineers never considered possible. How did you know this would work? Hannah smiled, remembering all the impossible repairs that had led her to this moment. Sometimes you have to trust what you know, even when facing something you don't, she replied, cleaning her hands with an old shop rag. All energy systems, no matter how advanced, follow certain basic principles. The trick is finding the common ground between different technologies. She walked around the core, admiring how the modified Earth components worked in harmony with the alien technology. Where there had been chaos in the quantum field, now there was stability. Where there had been rigid control, now there was flexible efficiency. "Look here," she said, pointing to where she had integrated a modified car sensor into the quantum matrix. "Your original system was fighting against natural energy fluctuations. This sensor now works with them, like a surfer riding a wave instead of trying to stop it." The AI's lights pulsed as it analyzed the modification. This approach contradicts all standard Guardian repair protocols. "That's probably why it works so well," Hannah chuckled. "Sometimes the best solutions come from thinking outside standard protocols." She adjusted one final connection, and the core's hum deepened into a perfectly stable tone. "Your technology is incredibly advanced, but it doesn't always have to be complicated." The workshop filled with the soft blue glow of the fully repaired quantum core. Diagnostic screens showed power flows that exceeded all Guardian specifications, yet remained perfectly stable. Hannah's hybrid repair system had done more than fix the problem. It had improved upon the original design in ways that seemed to defy possibility. "Our engineers will want to study these modifications," the AI said, its tone suggesting both admiration and curiosity. "You've managed to achieve results that centuries of Guardian development did not predict." Hannah sat down on her workbench, finally allowing herself to feel the exhaustion from working through the night. "That's because your engineers probably never had to fix a quantum device with parts from a car engine," she said with a tired smile. "Sometimes limitations force us to find better solutions." The morning sun now fully illuminated the workshop, its light mixing with the quantum core's glow to create beautiful patterns on the walls. The repaired ship hummed with new life, its systems running more efficiently than ever before. "You know," Hannah said, looking at her handiwork, "this reminds me of something my old mentor used to say. He told me that every machine has a song, and a good mechanic doesn't just fix the parts, they help the machine find its rhythm again." The eye was silent for a moment, processing this concept. "You have not merely repaired our systems," it finally said. "You have taught them a new way to function. This goes beyond maintenance. It is innovation." Hannah stood up, stretching her tired muscles. "Sometimes the best repairs don't just fix what's broken," she said, gathering her tools. "They make things better than they were before." As the morning continued to brighten, the workshop stood as a testament to what could happen when human ingenuity met alien technology. The quantum core's steady hum was like a song of harmony between two vastly different worlds, brought together by one mechanic's ability to see beyond the boundaries of what was supposed to be possible. The morning sun streamed through the workshop windows, casting long shadows across the floor. Hannah sat on her favorite work stool, sipping fresh coffee and admiring the perfectly functioning quantum core. The events of the last night still felt surreal, like something from a dream or an old science fiction movie. "There is something I must tell you," the Guardian AI said, its voice taking on a more formal tone. The ship's crystalline surfaces shifted, creating a holographic display in the center of the workshop. Images of vast fleets and advanced worlds flickered through the air. "I am not simply a ship's computer," the AI continued. "This vessel serves as part of a selection program. We travel across the galaxy, seeking individuals with special qualities." Hannah set down her coffee cup, watching as the holographic display showed scenes of different alien species working on advanced technology. "Special qualities?" she asked, her tired mind trying to process this new information. "Yes. Our civilization has achieved remarkable technological advancement, but we've lost something crucial along the way." The AI paused, its lights pulsing thoughtfully. "We've lost the ability to innovate under pressure, to think beyond established parameters. We've become too dependent on protocols and procedures." The holograms shifted to show various guardian ships, each more impressive than the last. "What you did last night, repairing quantum technology with primitive tools, creating hybrid systems that shouldn't work but do. This is exactly what we've been searching for." Hannah stood up, walking through the holographic display to check a reading on the quantum core. "So this wasn't just a random breakdown?" she asked, her voice calm despite the revelation. "The breakdown was real," the AI assured her. "But how potential candidates respond to such situations reveals their true capabilities. You didn't just fix the ship, Hannah. You improved it. You did something our best engineers would consider impossible." The workshop fell silent except for the steady hum of the repaired systems. Sunlight caught the edges of the holographic display, creating rainbow patterns on the walls. "We need individuals who can think beyond established protocols," the AI explained, its voice carrying a note of what might have been hope. "Would you consider becoming a guardian? The first human to join our ranks?" Hannah looked around her small workshop. Her eyes moved over the familiar tools, the half-finished projects, the old family photos on the wall. Each item held memories of problems solved, challenges overcome. This place had been her whole world for so long. "What exactly does being the guardian involve?" she asked, running her hand along a well-worn wrench. The holographic display changed again, showing scenes of guardian ships traveling between stars, helping various civilizations, solving complex technological problems across the galaxy. "Guardians serve as problem solvers for advanced civilizations," the AI explained. "We protect, we assist, we innovate. But most importantly, we learn and adapt. Your approach to repairs, combining technologies, finding simple solutions to complex problems, this is what we need to relearn." Hannah walked to her workshop window, looking out at the mountains she'd called home all her life. "And I'd have to leave Earth?" she asked quietly. "Not permanently," the AI replied. "We could establish this location as your base of operations. Your workshop could be upgraded with Guardian technology, becoming a bridge between our worlds." The possibility began to take shape in Hannah's mind. She thought about all the times she'd looked up at the stars, wondering what was out there. Now the stars were offering her a chance to find out. "You would receive training in advanced technologies," the AI continued, "but more importantly, you would teach us. Your methods, your way of thinking, they could revolutionize how we approach problems across the galaxy." Hannah turned back to face the holographic display, watching scenes of distant worlds and amazing technologies. "You know," she said with a slight smile, "most people would think I'm crazy for even considering this. Most people didn't just repair quantum technology with modified car parts," the AI responded, a hint of humor in its voice. Hannah laughed, the sound echoing through her workshop. She walked back to the quantum core, placing her hand on its warm surface. The energy hummed through her palm, a reminder of what was possible when you dared to try the impossible. "My grandfather used to say that the best mechanics never stop learning," she said softly. "He also said that when opportunity knocks, you better open the door before it breaks it down." The AI's lights pulsed, waiting for her answer. Outside, the morning had fully arrived, bringing with it the promise of a day unlike any other in human history. Inside the workshop, a mechanic from South Korea stood on the brink of a decision that would change not just her life, but potentially the course of two civilizations. Before I answer, Hannah said, standing straight and facing the AI directly, I have some conditions of my own to discuss. After all, every good repair starts with a clear understanding between mechanic and client. The transformation of Hannah's workshop happened gradually over 3 months. From the outside, it still looked like the same old repair shop nestled in the Korean mountains, but inside, ancient tools now sat beside crystalline devices, and holographic displays flickered between Earth engine diagrams and quantum schematics. Hannah stood at her workbench, carefully disassembling the Guardian power cell while explaining her process to 3 hovering AI drones. See, your power distribution is too perfect, she said, pointing to the crystal matrix with an old screwdriver. Sometimes imperfection creates better energy flow, like water finding its natural path down a mountain. The drones recorded everything, their lights blinking, and what she had learned was confusion. One of them spoke up, its voice carrying the formal tone common to Guardian AIs. But the calculations indicate maximum efficiency through regulated channels. Calculations aren't everything, Hannah replied, using a modified Earth tool to adjust the crystal structure. Watch this. She connected the power cell to a testing unit. The energy output immediately jumped by 30%. The drone's lights flickered rapidly as they processed the impossible readings. Hannah had gotten used to this reaction. Every time she broke another Guardian engineering rule, there would be disbelief, followed by reluctant acceptance when her methods proved successful. In another corner of the workshop, a Guardian training system projected technical specifications into the air. Hannah spent hours each day learning about technology centuries beyond Earth's development. But for every lesson she received, she gave one in return. Your civilization has achieved amazing things, she told her Guardian teachers, but you've forgotten something important. The joy of discovery through trial and error. Sometimes you need to let go of perfect solutions to find better ones. Not everyone in the Guardian fleet appreciated her philosophy. During her first month, a group of senior engineers had visited her workshop, their crystalline forms radiating skepticism. They watched as she repaired a quantum navigation system using modified Earth components. Impossible, one had declared. These primitive materials cannot interface with our technology. Hannah had simply smiled and activated the system. It performed better than the original specifications. The engineers left in silence, but word of her success spread through the Guardian network. As autumn turned the mountain leaves golden, Hannah's reputation grew. She became known as the mechanic who could solve the unsolvable. Guardian ships began appearing in her valley, their crews seeking help with problems that had stumped their best minds for centuries. She insisted on keeping her regular Earth clients too. In the same day, she might fix a farmer's tractor and then repair a quantum drive. She saw no contradiction in this. To her, all machines needed the same thing: understanding and care. One evening, as she finished explaining to a Guardian AI how she'd fixed its temporal stabilizer using parts from an old microwave, Hannah realized something important. She wasn't just teaching them new repair techniques, she was helping them rediscover their own creativity. Your civilization advanced so quickly, she told the AI, wiping grease from her hands, that you forgot the value of simple solutions. Sometimes the best way forward is to look back at what worked before. The AI considered this while examining her repair. Your methods defy our established protocols, it said, yet they consistently produce superior results. How do you determine which rules to break? Hannah picked up an old wrench, one that had belonged to her grandfather. I don't think about breaking rules, she said. I think about solving problems. Every machine, no matter how advanced, has basic needs. The trick is listening to what it's telling you, not just following a manual. As winter approached, her workshop became a unique fusion of two worlds. Earth tools hung on walls next to quantum scanners. Guardian training systems shared space with old engine blocks. It was exactly what Hannah had insisted on when accepting the position, a place where both worlds could learn from each other. One cold morning, she received an urgent call from a Guardian science vessel. They had encountered an anomaly that was causing critical system failures. Their best engineers had failed to find a solution. "Send them here," Hannah said, already clearing space in her workshop. She glanced at her grandfather's photo on the wall and smiled. He had always told her that every problem had a solution. You just had to be willing to look in unexpected places. The Guardian ship arrived at sunset, its crystalline surface reflecting the orange sky. As Hannah walked out to meet it, tool belt hanging from her waist, and both Earth and Guardian diagnostic devices in her hands, she felt a deep sense of satisfaction. This was what she had been preparing for all these months, bridging the gap between two vastly different approaches to technology. As she entered the ship, ready to tackle another impossible problem, she knew she had made the right choice in accepting the Guardian's offer. The massive hangar bay of the Guardian space station hummed with activity as Hannah's ship settled into its docking position. Unlike the purely crystalline vessels around it, her ship was unique, a blend of sleek Guardian technology and practical human engineering. The hull shimmered with quantum energy fields, but beneath the surface, modified Earth components worked in perfect harmony with alien systems. Hannah stood at the command center, watching as the docking sequence completed itself. After a year as a Guardian, she still marveled at how far she had come from her mountain workshop in Korea. But she hadn't left her roots behind. She brought them with her, changing the Guardian fleet in ways nobody had expected. "Final systems check complete," her ship's AI announced. "All hybrid systems performing at 143% of standard Guardian specifications." The AI's voice carried a hint of pride. Another change Hannah had brought to Guardian technology. She had taught their AIs that emotions weren't flaws to be corrected, but tools that could improve problem-solving. "Any word from our new apprentice?" Hannah asked, adjusting a control panel that combined holographic displays with physical switches. She had designed it herself, proving that sometimes touching a control worked better than thinking it. "She has just arrived at the station," the AI replied. "Like you, she comes highly recommended for her innovative repair work on Earth." Hannah smiled, remembering her own journey. In just 1 year, she had fixed dozens of impossible problems across the galaxy. Her methods had shocked, then impressed, and finally revolutionized Guardian engineering. Now, they were ready to accept another human mechanic into their ranks. Through the ship's viewport, Hannah could see other Guardian vessels coming and going. Many of them now carried modifications based on her designs, hybrid systems that merged the best of both worlds. What had started as emergency repairs in her workshop had grown into a movement that was reshaping Guardian technology. "Remember when you first crashed in my yard?" Hannah asked her AI, running her hand along a control panel made from modified car parts. "You thought Earth technology was primitive. An error in judgment that you corrected most effectively." The AI responded, "Your approach to engineering has forced us to reconsider many assumptions about technological advancement." Hannah checked the time on a display that looked suspiciously like an old kitchen clock. "Well, let's go meet our apprentice. Time to pass on what we've learned." As they walked through the ship's corridors, Hannah reflected on the changes of the past year. Her vessel was a testament to what could happen when different worlds worked together. Guardian crystalline technology flowed seamlessly into Earth-inspired mechanical systems. Quantum fields were regulated by modified car computers. Ancient human engineering principles helped stabilize advanced alien technology. The ship's main airlock opened, revealing a young woman standing nervously in the station's docking bay. She carried a toolbox that looked like it had seen plenty of use, and her eyes widened at the sight of Hannah's hybrid ship. "Welcome aboard," Hannah said warmly. "I'm Hannah, and this is going to be your new classroom." She gestured to the ship around them. "What do you think?" The apprentice looked around in wonder. "It's amazing. I've heard stories about how you combine Earth technology with Guardian systems, but seeing it..." She trailed off, noticing a familiar-looking component. Is that part of an old tractor engine? Modified to help control quantum field distribution." Hannah confirmed with a grin. Sometimes the old ways work better than the new ones. That's the first lesson you'll learn here. They walked through the ship, Hannah pointing out various hybrid systems she had designed. The apprentice asked intelligent questions, already showing the same innovative thinking that had brought Hannah to the Guardian's attention. Sometimes, Hannah told her ship's AI, as they showed their new crew member around, the best way forward is to remember where you came from. She patted a wall that hummed with the perfect harmony of two technologies working together. Every machine, every piece of technology, tells us something about the people who made it. When we combine those stories, we create something new and wonderful. The apprentice was already examining a quantum relay, her eyes bright with possibilities. Hannah recognized that look. It was the same one she had worn when she first started combining Earth and Guardian technology.